Masechta Bava Basra, Pei Hey Amud Aleph. We're starting from Pei Dalet Amud Beis, from Rav Ushmul Amud Havai, the last four words on the Amud. So the Gemara is now going to deal with Kinyan Chotzer. Well, if somebody places here, let me give you a father here. I'll take 50. Okay, we'll start from Rav Ushmul Amud Havai, Rav and Shmuel, that they both say Kelya shall Adam kaina lay, that the keli of a person is kaina the chayfetz that's in it like a chotza for him. And Yomara says chutz mishus b'chol makom in every place chutz mishus harabim except for shus harabim. If the keli was placed in a shus harabim, then it doesn't have a din chotza to be kaina, because the shus of the person doesn't have any shus to place his keli in a shus harabim. So therefore, the keli itself is not going to be kind of for him. But even though he could put it there for a second, halacha is you're allowed to put it today lofush to fix your packages. But nevertheless, since he cannot place it there, but derech keva, so he cannot be kind of to him as a chatzah. Which one? Which one are you talking? Kel Yoshalem Kainalai? We're saying it's everywhere. The chayfetz that's in the it should be kind of for him. It's kind of for him even when it's in the rishus and the meicha. It's even if the meicha said befedish your knei lecha kel yacha. Knei lecha kel yacha. Your kelim should be kind of the peiris that's in it. Even if it's in the rishus of the meicha, he's giving him rishus to keep it there. Yeah, if not, it's the meicha's rishus. He has no rishus to put his kelim. B'chol makom, meaning not only in his own rishus and the rishus of the lekeach, but even in the rishus of the meicha. But the meicha says that. But b'chutz rishus harabim, rishus harabim won't help because nobody can tell you anything, and you have no rishus to place it. Hagba helps even Rishus Harabim. We learned before. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon both say that the keli of a person is kind of I feel with Rishus Harabim. Okay, let's go. No, we're going to talk about maybe the keli is the ikka, the karka is not the ikka. The keli is considered as a chotzer. Secondary is the karka. The karka. It's like putting in your pocket in your keli. Okay, so Papa. Lloyd Pleat, Rav Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shlakish are not arguing. Now we're going to tell you there's no argument. Really, your Rishus Harabim Mamish is not going to be Kaina. Kan, Rishus Harabim, when did Rav Shmuel say it's not going to be a Kinyan in the Rishus Harabim? There it's Mamish or Rishus Harabim. But here where we said, where Rabbi Yochanan Shimon ben Lakish says that it is going to be a Kinyan, is talking about Besimta. Besimta means a street that goes right off the Rishus Harabim. Everybody's allowed to use that area. It's not like the Rishus Harabim where nobody has the Rishus to use it. So why would you call a Simta Rishus Harabim? To tell you it's not a Rishus Yachid, it's not exclusively to one person. Everybody can use it, but you could use it. Versus Rishus Harabim, you cannot use it. Okay, so too it's reasonable to say that by a simta, that the difference is that they're not arguing, and Rabbi Yochanan Shlakish, the reason why they said it's going to be kaina because they're talking about a simta. Why they call it Rishus Harabim to tell you it's not exclusively a Rishus Harabim. Everybody holds it's not going to be kaina. So too it's reasonable to say. That Rabbi Avo said befedish in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that the kelim of a person is kind of for him everywhere where he has the shus to place his keli down. It's mashma, yes, let his shus in. If he has permission to place his keli on the floor, then he's taka kaina. But if he doesn't have his shus to place it down, he's not going to be kaina. So that means a kli which is placed in a real rishus where he has no rishus to place it there. Even Rabbi Yochanan will hold it won't be a kinyan.
But in a
simta will be a kinyan. So this that Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Lakish, they both said it. Your person's kaina rishus harabim. They obviously meant a simta because Rishus Harabim you cannot place a keli there. And Rabbi Yochanan said, "Befedish, if it's a place where you cannot place a keli over there, right? Then you're not koina. The keli is not koina for you." So,
How you koina Rishus Harabim? Only Hagbah?
Only Hagbah.
Only thing, nothing. No Mashiach is not you.
Mashiach doesn't help in Rishus Harabim. No. Tashma, come in here. Says Gemara, and I'll bring you a raya. So the Gemara continues to see if the keli of a person is koina for him in the Rishus Harabim, and he tries to bring you a raya from here, from this Tosefta. It says, "Arba midas memeichad." There are 4 different ways of meaning 4 different dinim benagei to mechira, how mechira works. And the Rashbam says we're not talking about rishuyas. There are 4 different rishuyas, because amongst the rishuyas is the rishus hamoicha, and the rishus of the Baal HaPikad, the one that's holding the pikadin, and that's the same thing as the rishus hamoicha. So that would be the 4th case. It wouldn't be a 4th rishus. It's the same thing. Those 2 are the same. So obviously we're talking about 4 different dinim. And he starts off with the first din. Somebody who filled up a measuring keli, filled with wine or oil. Actually, this malamida, as long as the measuring cup wasn't filled, then it's still lamecha. It belongs to the mecha. Meaning that if the prices went up, it still belongs to the mecha.
Depends what the Lekech asked for, or what they selling.
No, he has to measure. He's selling him a full measuring cup. As long as the measuring cup was not filled, it still belongs to the mecha. And if the price went up in the midst,
well, let's say he said,
it belongs to the
buying
mecha.
a gallon of milk.
So once the gallon is,
it
has to be filled up. If it's not filled up, it still belongs to the mecha. And even though the prices now went up, so the lekeh can't I told you I want to buy it before it went up. It doesn't work that way. It's still in the mecha's shoes. And if it's spilled, it belongs to it. It's the loss of the mecha. But Mishnah Smal Hamida, if I'm telling you only the Rashbam. Rashbam says these 2 scenarios. If the meter was filled up, then it belongs to the lekech. So now, if the prices went up, what?
Who disagrees?
Nobody. 1 second. This is the first din. When were these words said? We're talking about a measuring kli that did not belong not to the mecha, not to the lekech, and therefore, as long as he's a broker, that's what the Rashbam says. He calls it sirsa, I think it's sirsa. You're going to sholo isim in sirsa. They borrowed it from a broker, who's a broker between the measuring keli, and he's the broker between the seller and the buyer. So now, as long as it wasn't filled, it's still in the meichas ishus. Once it's filled, it goes to lekeach. But if it belonged to either lekeach or the meicha, rishin kana, the first drops that went into the keli, whoever the keli belongs to, that's who was kind of the first moment a drop fell in. You don't have to wait till fill up. If it's his till the end, till he tells you, I'm selling it to you. But here he says, his kelim is mamish. It's his chotzer. The first drop went in. The lekech was kelim. It's not chotzer. No sirsa. Our case that we made a chilik, it was if before it was filled up, it belongs to the meicha. Once it's filled up, it belongs to the lekeach. Is talking about that the measuring cup belonged to the broker. Okay. But if it belonged to the lekeach, l'mashal, so we don't have to wait till it fills up. The first drops that went in, the lekeach was meicha. But with these words said that lekeach is kind of right away with his keli, v'shus harabim. If it's mefedish in a shusarabim or bechotzer she'ein shel shleim, in a chotzer that doesn't belong to both of them, and this is the kasha. Here you see, we said only in sim. Very good. That's going to be the kasha at the end. Al b'shus meicha, but if it will be in the shus of the meicha, even though it's the kelo like but it's the shus meicha like is not going to be kaina. That's what he says. Ad sheyagbiyana. The only way you can be kaina is to. Hagba, actually it's enemy shus, or he takes it out completely from the guy's shus, or it's another case the Gemara will give later on.
What do you mean he takes that completely?
He takes it out of the shus and brings it into his own shus. It is shus hamecha, but shus hamecha loikona. Acha yegebean until he does hagba in shus hamecha, or acha yitziena min shusay of the mecha. So once he takes it out of shus hamecha, he's kind of like king Mashiach. Then he gives another scenario. The Gemara will say that he put his hand within 3 tvachim, even though it's a shusam, within 3 tvachim of the askufa of the meicha, so he was kainet. So the Gemara, Peiris, a third scenario. B'shus lekeach. Now we're talking about that what the Peiris during the kinyan, in whose shus was it? In the lekeach's shus. Not like we said in the second scenario, it was the shus amoicha.
The Moicha, he was a traveling salesman, so he came to his
The lekeach, right? Kima shekibel alav moicha. Since the moicha was masking with the lekeach on the sale of the Peiris, kana lekeach, the lekeach was kind of.
just with an agreement.
It is made. It's the chotze is the lekeach. So the Peiris that the lekeach is kind of right away. Mitzat kinyan chatzeirai. The Peiris was in the lekeich's shus. Kind of lekeach. The Peiris be kinyan chatze because the Peiris are found in his shus. In the shus of lekeach.
He agreed to the sale.
Yeah, of course. It's talking about that he agreed to the sale. Okay. And here we'll say, even if it's in the Kelev of the Meichel, we'll soon see. Zog the Gemara, if the Peiris were Bishus Halo Habavkadim Hatzlei, fourth scenario, that the Peiris were in the shoes of the Mafkid, the Nifkat. Someone is Mafkid, somebody gave up a Kadin, and the shoes of the Nifkat, he's like an agent for him. You could sell it through me. I'm watching it for you. You want to sell it through my shoes, you can do it. Well, Loi Kana, the Lekech is not going to be Kana, because the shus of the Meicha is considered as the shus of the shus of the Shoime is considered as the shus of the Meicha. So min astam the Shoime has to be makne it to the Mafkid, his shus for him to be kind of back his payers, for the Meicha to be kind of back his payers. His payers actually love till the Shoime will meaning accept and be maskim according to the request of the one that gave him the pekadon, the request of the mafkid, that he should designate a part of his shoes for the lekeach to be kind of the peiris.
You could use the rishus of words.
The meich, now it's in the nifkat's issues, in the shaybe's issues. So how is the meich going to be makne to the lekeach? So the Meicha is going to he's going to request of the Shaima that please designate a chelik from your reshus, just like you would give me back my payers. That's what he's saying. Designate a part of your reshus for the lekeich to be kind of the payers. Or the lekeich will rent the place for to be kind of the payers. They rent the place of the Shaima's karka. In fact, the Gemara, but go back to the previous case, that the kelim of the lekeach is koina for him, b'shusarabim ubechatzer she'ena shel shneim. We just said that he could be koina if it's lekeachs in the second scenario. Avalim hoisa amida shalach b'amrish nishin koina. You saw that? It says b'amed var mamurim b'shusarabim b'chatzer she'ena shel shneim. So you see that the lekeich's keli only helps, which is bestited to what we said before. It only helps in simta. Is it then not for sure talking about Rishus Rabim Mamish? So it contradicts what we said before. Says Gemara Loy. It doesn't mean the actual Rishus Rabim, rather it means a simta, the side street off the Rishus Rabim. Sagt die Gemara. That's what the pshat when it said b'shus rabim chatzer she'ena shel shneim. The chatzer she'ena shel shneim. We learned the Fedish. It's similar to the case of a chatzer that doesn't belong to both of them. Which would be right. That's mamish rishus rabim, where nobody has a shus to place anything, and a chatzer she'ena shel shneim is also nobody has a shus. Doesn't belong to them. It belongs to somebody else. As you want to know, my chatzer she'ena shel shneim. What's the pshat in chatzer she'ena shel shneim? Nami also means that the loy the high, the loy the high kulala the tavaya. He means it doesn't exclusively belong to one person. It belongs to two people. It means a chatzer shel shutfim. That's what he meant to say.
Or a simta is also the same.
That's what is. So that's what he's saying. So that what type of Rishus Rabim that he compared to a Chatzer She'ena Shel Shneim is to a Chatzer that belongs to two people, not exclusively to one, just like a Simta that belongs to many people. Isn't it? But Now, Sheish this the Shayla from Abhun Kol Yoy Shaloikeach Rishus HaMeicha, if the Keli of Aloikeach is placed in the Rishus of the Meicha. And the Meicha now puts some paytas into the Keli of the Loikeach. Kona Loikeach Oiloi. Is Loikeach Koina with his Keli, or he's not Koina it? So what's the Shaila? The Shaila is, what's the main part? Is the Rishus the main part for him to be Koina, and the Kli is bottled to the Rishus? So therefore, it's considered as, since the Keli is bottled to the Rishus HaMeicha, so it's considered as it's found in the Chotza of the Meicha, and he's not Koina it. The Lekeich is not going to be Koina it. Or perhaps we're going to say, no, the Keli is the main thing.
Did we discuss this before?
No, this is the first time. Or the Keli is the Iker, and since the Keli belongs to the Lekeich, so the Lekeich is Koina. We want to know what's the main, when there's a Keli of the Lekeich in the Rishus of the Meicha, which one supersedes the other, or which one is secondary to the other. So here, should we say the Keli is secondary to the Rishus? So even though the Keli belongs to Lekeich, but it's bottled to the Rishus of the Meicha, and therefore it's the Chotz of the Meicha, and he's not Koina it. Or perhaps we say, what's the Ikar? The Keli, and therefore the Lekeich is Koina. Amalei. I want to answer Rav Sheshet to Nisua. We learned. Where do we see an answer to this? From which Mishnah? He says from Gittin. It says where a Baal, the husband, threw a get to his wife in order to divorce her. He threw it in her lap. He threw it on the basket. Into her basket that was on her head. They used to go with baskets on the head.
Why does it have to be on the head? It could be in her hand.
It could be in the hand
on
too.
the side.
I just said those times. You see
No, does it
pictures.
have to be on the head or it could be on the
No,
side?
it could be anywhere. It's her
As
kalsa.
long as it's in her Rishus.
Well, if it's on the head, it's like her own goat then.
We're going to talk about two, but kalsa is her basket. We're saying
Okay.
her basket is like her chatzar, benegay the get, and therefore you see that her kalim is kind of for her. So the same thing by a lekeich, the keli is kind of for her. Even though where is she standing? She normally is standing in the house of her husband when he gives her the get,
What's the raya?
or in the chatzar of the husband.
What's the raya from the Baraisa?
The Baraisa says that Stami Isha Imedes B'Shus Shel Habal B'Beisoi Oy B'Chatzera. It says. So, but nevertheless, she's kind of the get because it went into her keli, into her basket, or what do we say, or into her lap.
How could you say what do you want to say? That
So you
should be
see the
bottled with
keli,
chatzah?
that the keli should be bottled. The basket is in the chatzah of the Baal. So the basket should be bottled to the chatzah, and so she's not kind of. Only Rav Nachman answered, my time of pashtat le'mai, the machala meya uchla b'uchla. He says, what do you answer me from that Mishnah? You know, we punched already with a hammer, we slammed in already 100 shvekis, 100 nails, punched holes in this raya. This is a nishke raya. You can't bring no raya from this Mishnah. Where do we see that? He says, look, we have this case of Damar Rav Yehuda Mashmol. Rav Yehuda Mashmol explained, there it's talking about that the basket was hanging on her in the ear. So it wasn't even on the ground to say that it's bottled to the ground. Yeah? It's standing in the... That's one answer they said. Rishlakish says, Kshura, it's tied to her, even though it's dragging on the ground, but it's still her. It's tied to her. Even though the Afapish Asal Mulach al Gabi Akaka, but it's Kikufaisha, so she's kind of. Then you have Rabada Brababa Omaki, Gochesa Kalsam and Achas, Lo Ben Yay Choisa. It's talking about that the basket was lying between her feet on her dress. So surely a person is not
Even though
makbid
it's on the ground, it's between her legs.
between her legs on the place where she's sitting. So we say that place where she's sitting, the husband doesn't mind, and
That's
it's
like
not.
her rishus.
It's her rishus, and it's not the rishus of the meicha. You're going to say he's about to divorce her. He wouldn't give her even a toothpick to sit on. He says no. If he's able to divorce her and he wants to divorce her, he'll give her even the kisei covered. But just get out of here after. I mean, I'm just saying, he gives it.
be,
Doesn't have to be vicious. But Rabbi Shashia Berei de Ami, Amar Kigoin Shaya Baila Meicha Klosses. It's talking about the husband who sold baskets. That's what his business was. Baskets all over. You think this basket, he's not makbid on his wife's basket being there. That's what he says over here. L'chein eina makbid al ishta imanicha hi sham es klosa. Says, Kivan shemeicha meicha klosses. He sells on his baskets all over. Therefore, he's not makbid if her basket is going to be between the baskets that he's selling.
You get. So
Yeah, but he's saying that he's not even makbid if her basket was there. Because it's full of baskets. One basket between thousands. That's what he sells.
let's say he wasn't a meicha, so she can't
Oh,
become
but
a
Rabbi
basket.
Yechon says it has nothing to do with a meicha. He says he says it doesn't even have to be hanging on her or tied to her. It doesn't have to be bein yachisa. He says the place of her lap is kind of for her. So even though it's not her cheka mamish, it's the dress, it's the lavush. Here the Rashbam says, "Eina kamona lecheka mamish." It doesn't mean mamish the lap. Shulchenik migufa. Pshita shedinik chatzeda if it was on her lap. El lebegadim shehi levusha bahem. That also the begadim is kind of if the get was on the begadim in which he's wearing, that could be kind of for her. It was long, it was slapping on the kaka. It's a God that Taisis and Gittin says that. Zaki Mara, Amar Rava. Rava said, oh, so he says, and the place of the basket is kind of for her. Amar Rava said, my time to Rabbi Yochanan. What's the reason of Rabbi Yochanan? Because a person is makbid on the place where her lap is or the place where the basket is. So that's like the kelev of the lekeach, b'shus lekeach. Okay? It's not b'shus meicha, it's a different case. So you can't bring a raya from there. It's called kelev of lekeach, b'shus lekeach. Because he's not makbid, so it's her own issue, so you don't have a similarity. Says rather you can answer from here. From this Braisa, following Braisa, it says Rishus Meicha that in the Rishus of the Meicha Leikona, the Lekeich is not kind of the Schera Ache Yagbiano, Ache Yitzayano, Rishus of the Meicha. If it was in the Rishus of the Meicha, so the halacha is that the Lekeich is not going to be kind of the Schera, the merchandise, while in the Rishus of the Meicha, till he does a Agba, or till he does a Meshicha that he takes it out of the Rishus of Meicha. My love. Bekelya the lekeach. For sure, what are we talking about? The kelim of the lekeach. And nevertheless, he says he's not going to be kaineh if it's mishus hamecha. So you see, because it's a tuffle, it's secondary to the ikis the karka. It's secondary to the karka, not the keli. So that's why he has to do a meshicha out of his ishus, or he has to do agba. Says I can explain. No, it was the kalim of the meicha, and that's why he wasn't kaineh. That's why either he has to pick it up or do a meshicha and take it out of the ishus. Yes, of the meicha. Says, you want to learn that it's talking about Mekalim Shemeicha? No, I have a problem with that. From this that you explained that the Reisha is talking about the Kalim belong to the Meicha, Seifa Nami Mekalim the Meicha. So you have to say the Seifa of that Braisa is also talking about the Kalim belong to the Meicha. Look what it Ema Seifa. Let's look in the Seifa. The Seifa says, B'shus Leikeach. If it was in the Rishus of the Leikeach, Kivan Shekibel Alav Meicha, since the Meicha accepted to sell, Kona Leikeach, the Leikeach was immediately Kaina. How? The Bekelya the Meicha. And you say the Kalim is the Ikeh, Amai Kona Leikeach. If the Kalim is the Ikeh, the Kalim is of the Meichas, how could you say that the Leikeach was Kaina right away? Amai Kona Leikeach, why should he be Kaina? If the Kalim is the Ikeh and the Kalim belong to the Meicha, and it doesn't matter. You're saying that the Kalim is the Ikeh. And the Gemara say for us, the Leikeach, The reason why he's koina right away because the Sefer is talking about no, the kelim belong to Lekeach, and the Reish is talking about that it belonged to the Meicha. My Pascha. Right, you were changing cases around. How do you know to change the cases around like that? What makes you so sure that the Reisha, it belonged to the Kelim of the Meicha, the Sefer is the Kelim of the Lekeach? Normally, it's all universal. You start off with one case, that the whole Mizim Bryce is talking about the same case. If you want a very simple, Stam of the Milsa, Bei Meicha, Money the Meicha, Shchiche. The first case was talking about B'Shus HaMeicha. In the Rishus of the Meicha, whose Kelim are usually being used? The Kelim of the Meicha. And in the Sefer, what do we say? It's in the Rishus of Lekeach. Bei Lekeach, whose Kelim is normally used in the Rishus of Lekeach? Manei the Lekeach Shchichi. Which one are the most frequently used in the which are the Kelim that are most frequently used in the Rishus of Lekeach? The Lekeach Kelim. That's it.